We begin today with the ultimate distinction in human achievement. It is a distinction that you can observe, you can measure, and you can ultimately reproduce. Winners do not think like everyone else. They do not speak like everyone else. They do not carry themselves like the average person. There is something profoundly different about them. A quiet, almost invisible signature in the way they process the world. And that difference, that internal distinction, is the singular factor that separates massive success from inevitable failure. It is the core determinant of who rises to the top and who stays tragically stuck in the comfortable middle. Most people believe that winning is an external event. They believe it starts with the market, with a lucky break, with an opportunity that knocks, or with a sudden influx of money in the bank. They are fundamentally wrong. They are looking for the effect and mistaking it for the cause. The truth is, winning starts in the mind, long before success ever shows up in your bank account, in your career, or in your life. Success is simply the external, visible reflection of your internal dialogue. Think of it like this. Your internal world, your thoughts, and your language is the master blueprint. The external world, your results and your circumstances, is the construction site. You cannot build a 5-star building if the blueprint you send to the site is drawn by a nervous amateur. The materials, the workers, the very structure itself will eventually reflect the confusion and the weakness of the original design. Winners train their minds for success. They treat their minds not as a passive reservoir for random thoughts, but as a high-performance engine that requires daily tuning, discipline, and the highest grade fuel. They refuse to let the weeds of negativity take hold. They do not waste precious time on doubt, fear, or self-imposed limitations. They understand that every moment spent dwelling on a problem is a moment stolen from building a solution. They see challenges differently. The amateur sees a challenge and says, "This is the end of the road. This is too hard." The winner sees a challenge and says, "This is the price of admission. This is the setup for my comeback." They see failure differently. The amateur sees failure as a personal verdict on their worth. The winner sees failure as a tuition payment for their education. And because they process the world through this highly refined, solution-oriented lens, they move through life with a level of confidence and certainty that most people never develop. But it is not just how they think. It is how they talk. The words they choose, the way they speak to themselves in the solitude of their own minds, the way they communicate their vision to the world. All of it is synchronized to reinforce their winning mindset. Their language is precise. It is powerful. It is intentional. They do not speak in weakness. They do not complain about circumstances. They do not make excuses for their lack of progress. They understand that every word they utter is either pushing their ship forward or dragging their anchor behind them. They speak in a way that actively attracts success, in a way that commands immediate respect, in a way that moves things forward instead of holding them back. Most people never realize that their thoughts and their words are actively shaping their reality. They think small, so they stay small. They speak from a place of doubt, so they create more doubt in their environment. They constantly focus on their limitations, and thus, they remain limited. Their life is stuck in a self-fulfilling prophecy of mediocrity, driven entirely by the weakness of their own language. But the ones who win, they break this cycle. They think big. They speak powerfully. They train themselves. It is a conscious act of discipline to eliminate weak language, to surgically remove negative thinking, and to align their mind and their mouth with the exact life they intend to create. This is not about the fake confidence or empty motivation that you see advertised everywhere. We are not interested in temporary emotional highs. This is about rewiring your entire operating system from the inside out. It is about fundamentally shifting the way you see the world, the way you talk about your potential, and the way you approach your future. Because the ultimate, unavoidable truth is this: you will never rise above the level of your thoughts and your words. If your mind is weak, your life will reflect that weakness. If your words are weak, your results will be weak. But if you develop the mental discipline of a winner, a set of non-negotiable standards for what you permit yourself to think and say, your life will transform with a terrifying speed and permanence. The question you must ask yourself, before we reveal the 10 specific principles that govern this inner architecture, is simple. Are you ready to stop living by accident and start living by design? Are you ready to stop thinking and talking like a victim of circumstance and start thinking and talking like a winner who commands respect and creates reality? Because once you make that profound internal decision, once you fully commit to changing the way you operate on a daily, verbal, and mental level, there is no longer any limit to how far you can go. Your destiny is not written in the stars. It is written in your daily internal dialogue. Let us begin to build that destiny. Let us analyze the 10 unbreakable principles that govern the thought and language of those who win. We have established the fundamental truth. Winning starts in the mind. Before a single dollar is earned, before a single promotion is achieved, the course of your life has already been charted by your internal dialogue. This brings us to the first, non-negotiable principle of the winner's architecture. Principle number 1, you must practice the discipline of guarding your mind. The way you think determines everything. Your mind is the most valuable asset you possess. It is the factory where all your future success or failure will be manufactured. Yet, most people treat this factory with reckless abandon. They treat it like a public park, allowing anyone and anything to enter, wander around, and leave their trash behind. The winner, the master, treats their mind like a sacred, high-security garden. This is the simple but profound metaphor we must internalize. Your mind is a garden, and you are the only gardener. Every single thought you allow to take root in that garden is a seed. You cannot have a garden full of beautiful, valuable fruit if you allow weeds, negativity, doubt, fear, and self-imposed limitations to scatter their seeds without resistance. Those weeds are aggressive, they are noisy, they are easy to grow, and if you allow them to take root, they will eventually choke out all the useful, beautiful plants of opportunity and success. The fundamental distinction between the winner and the amateur is that the winner understands this law of cultivation. The winner is ruthless about controlling the quality of the seeds planted. Most people have absolutely no control over their thoughts. They live in a state of mental anarchy. They let whatever random thought, whatever fear-mongering headline, whatever cynical comment, or whatever painful memory enters their mind dictate how they feel, how they act, and how they respond to life. They are passive receptors. They are not the gardener. They are just the spectator watching the garden die. They do not realize that every thought they allow to take root in their head is either actively making them stronger or actively making them weaker. They live in reaction mode, reacting to a bad morning, reacting to the circumstances, reacting to the negative opinion of others. Because they do not control their thinking, they live life perpetually on defense. They are fighting fires they did not choose to start. The winner is different. The winner is an active, militant gardener. They understand the crucial difference between a thought that is delivered to them and a thought that is accepted by them. A negative thought will always arrive, that is the wind blowing the seed, but accepting it and watering it is always a choice. Winners practice discipline. They guard their thoughts like a fortress. They are ruthless about eliminating weak thinking. They understand that their mind is a binary system. It is either working for them or working against them. There is no neutral state. If you want to think like a winner, you must develop the habit of directing your mind. You must train yourself to focus on solutions instead of problems, toward possibilities instead of limitations. This is the great work of the mind. Most people get stuck because they dwell on what is wrong. They fixate on the obstacle. They let the problem dominate their focus. They are constantly driving their life forward while looking only in the rearview mirror at past failures and current challenges. They are spending their mental energy reliving losses instead of planning victories. But winners have trained themselves to instantly look at every situation, even a catastrophic failure, and pivot their focus. They ask the key questions. How can I win here? What is the next clear, immediate move? Where is the hidden opportunity in this challenge that others are missing? This is not about ignoring reality. We are not interested in delusion. This is about developing the mental toughness to accept the reality of the problem, but to absolutely refuse to let the problem dictate your response. It is about looking at setbacks, not as final verdicts, but as temporary setups for comebacks. When the amateur would quit, the winner sees a way forward because they are looking for the exit sign that others are too stressed to notice. This discipline extends to everything. It is how they approach their work. They do not see effort as something to avoid. They see it as the required price of success. They do not wait for motivation, which is an unreliable emotion. They do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. They understand a powerful psychological truth. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. The amateur waits to feel ready. The winner knows that waiting is just another form of losing. This disciplined thinking is visible in how they carry themselves. You can see it in their eyes. You can hear it in their voice. They do not speak in doubt. They move with certainty. This is not arrogance. It is simply clarity. They know the only way to win is to decide to win. And once that decision is made, they do not waste time questioning it. They conserve their mental energy by eliminating hesitation. The amateur hesitates. They overthink. They let doubt creep in. And every time they hesitate, they reinforce the idea that they are not ready, that they are not capable. They are eroding their own mental garden with indecision. But the winner eliminates hesitation. They trust themselves, not blindly, but because of the preparation they did in the quiet. They make decisions with confidence, and because of that, they move faster, they execute more, and they achieve more in a shorter amount of time than most people do in a lifetime. This mental discipline is the very first step in transforming your language, which we will discuss next. Your thoughts are the internal broadcast, and your words are the external transmission. You cannot expect the external transmission to be clear and powerful if the internal broadcast is static and full of doubt. You must accept the responsibility of being the gardener. You must be vigilant. You must pull the weeds of doubt the moment they sprout. You must stop planting the seeds of fear. You must cultivate the flowers of possibility and the strong, nourishing roots of confidence. Your mind is a field of immense potential. The way you cultivate it will determine the size and quality of your harvest. Guard it fiercely. We have committed to the first principle, the discipline of guarding the mind. We have agreed to be ruthless gardeners, pulling the weeds of doubt and fear before they can choke out our potential. But simply guarding the mind is not enough. Defense will only keep you where you are. To win, you must transition to offense. You must actively use your trained mind to move forward. This brings us to the second, equally vital principle. Principle number 2. You must cultivate the solution mindset. If you want to think like a winner, you must develop the habit of directing your mind toward solutions instead of problems, toward possibilities instead of limitations. This is the difference between a life of reaction and a life of creation. Most people get stuck because they dwell on what is wrong. They fixate on the obstacle. They let the problem dominate their thoughts. They spend their days rehearsing their problems. They hold on to their failures, their injustices, their wounds, and they look at every new challenge through the lens of those past hurts. They are driving their car forward, but their eyes are fixed entirely on the rearview mirror. And when you drive forward while looking backward, you are destined to crash. But winners have trained themselves for a higher level of operation. They have trained their minds to look at every single situation, no matter how catastrophic, instantly pivot their focus. They ask key, high-leverage questions that change the entire mental landscape. They ask, what is the next clear, immediate move? Where is the opportunity that others are missing in this challenge? How can I win here? This is not a delusion. This is not about ignoring reality. This is about developing the mental toughness, the discipline to look at the problem, acknowledge its severity, but absolutely refuse to let the problem dictate your response. You are not refusing to see the walls. You are simply refusing to accept that the walls are permanent. Think of an engineer confronted with a catastrophic structural failure in a building. The amateur bursts into tears and says, "Why me? The laws of physics are against me." The winner, the professional, looks at the collapsed beam and says, "Thank you for the data. Where did the stress fracture occur? What material do we use to reinforce this structure so it never happens again? How do we turn this failure into the safest building ever made?" They transmute the disaster into wisdom. This mindset is what separates those who simply exist from those who truly master life. It is about looking at setbacks, not as final verdicts on your worth, but as temporary setups for comebacks. When the amateur would quit, the winner sees a way forward. When others say, "This is too hard," the winner says, "This is exactly where I grow." This solution mindset extends to everything. It is how they approach their work. It is how they approach their health. Winners do not wait for motivation. We have already established that motivation is unreliable. They know that action creates motivation, not the other way around. They do not wait until they feel ready. They know that waiting is just another form of losing. They move with certainty. They eliminate the mental distraction of hesitation. The amateur hesitates. They overthink. They spend all their time and energy on the what-ifs and the should-Is. And every time they hesitate, they reinforce the idea that they are not ready. They are eroding their own potential with indecision. But the winner knows that movement creates clarity. They trust themselves not blindly, but because of the preparation they did in the silence. They make decisions with confidence, and because of that, they move faster, they execute more, and they achieve more in a shorter amount of time than most people do in a lifetime. When you cultivate this solution mindset, you stop being a victim of time. You become a master of the present moment. You are no longer driving while looking in the rearview mirror. You are focused on the road ahead. You are looking for the next turn, the next opportunity, the next gear change. This is the necessary link between thought and language. Your thoughts are the internal blueprint, and the solution mindset ensures that the blueprint is not merely a drawing of the problem, but a strategic design for the solution. And once the blueprint is clear, the language that comes out of your mouth, the external transmission, must be equally clear and powerful. You cannot speak in doubt when your mind is engineered for solutions. The two must be in sync. When we move to the next principle, we will see exactly how this internal blueprint of the solution mindset is translated into external power through language. The two disciplines are inseparable. You must guard your mind, and you must aim your mind. You must eliminate the weeds, and you must plant the seeds of decisive action. Only then can you fully transition from being a passive recipient of life's circumstances to an active creator of your own destiny. We have successfully established the internal architecture for winning. We are guarding our mind like a sacred garden, and we are aiming our focus with the solution mindset, turning every obstacle into data. Now, we must realize that this powerful internal blueprint is meaningless if it is not expressed correctly. A brilliant design that stays locked in the architect's head will never become a building. This brings us to the third, transformative principle. Principle number 3. You must master verbal reinforcement. Your words are not just sounds used to convey information. Your words are the primary tools you use to program your own mind and to shape your reality. Your words are the external transmission of your internal broadcast. The way you speak to yourself, your internal dialogue, and the way you describe your life and your goals to others, all of it serves to powerfully reinforce your mindset, either pushing you forward or holding you back. Most people sabotage themselves daily, and tragically, they do it with their own words. They use weak language. They say things like, "I am not good at this," or "I am just unlucky," or "This kind of success always happens to other people, but it never happens to me." And every time they say it, they are not just having a negative thought. They are issuing a command to their subconscious mind. They are training their brain to believe in their own limitations. They are telling the most powerful supercomputer in the world, their own mind, exactly what results to produce: incompetence, bad luck, and failure. They are constructing their own prison, one weak phrase at a time. Winners do the opposite. They understand the profound connection between the tongue and the mind. They understand that the tongue is the rudder of the ship. Where the tongue goes, the ship follows. They use their words to actively build themselves up. They speak in strength. They speak in power. They never, ever use weak language that diminishes their own potential. They do not waste time talking about what they cannot do, because that conversation is irrelevant. They talk about what they will do. Think about the simple, profound difference in energy. The amateur, the victim, says, "I hope I can succeed." That is a statement of powerlessness. It places the result in the hands of chance. The winner says, "I am going to find a way to succeed." That is a statement of responsibility and resolve. It places the result in their hands. The amateur says, "I am bad at this." That is a final verdict. The winner says, "I am improving at this every day." That is a statement of process, progress, and potential. This is not about shouting positive affirmations into the mirror without believing them. We are not interested in empty motivation. This is about reprogramming your core operating system. The more you speak with power, the more your brain believes it. The more you reinforce confidence, the faster you begin to feel it. The more you speak in terms of action and solutions, the more action you will inevitably take. Winners are deliberate with their words. They understand that their internal broadcast must be pure. They do not joke about their weaknesses. They do not say things they do not ultimately want to be true, because they recognize that the universe, and more importantly, their own subconscious, does not understand irony or humor when it comes to self-worth. It only understands the command. Every word they say aligns with the identity they are fiercely committed to becoming. They are acting as their own primary mentor, their own constant coach. They use language to create momentum. The results of this verbal discipline are undeniable. When you eliminate weak thoughts and replace them with strong, solution-oriented language, your actions change. Your decisions change. Your entire reality changes. Your mind and your words stop working against you and start working for you in perfect, powerful synchronization. This principle is the necessary bridge between your internal discipline, principle 1, and your external power, principle 4. You must have a strong mind, but you must also give that mind the right language to work with. You are creating the foundation for an unshakable, high-impact presence in the world. And once you master this internal dialogue, once you ensure that the words you speak to yourself are always words of strength, you are ready to take that powerful, refined language out into the world. You are ready to influence others. You are ready to command attention. You are ready to lead. This is the natural transition to our next principle. We have successfully refined our internal broadcast. We have committed to verbal reinforcement, using powerful language to program our own success. We know that the tongue is the rudder of the ship, and we are steering our mind toward resolution and achievement. But the power of your language does not stop at the boundary of your skull. It is the force that connects your internal world to the external world, and it is the key to influencing the movement of other people. This brings us to the fourth, foundational principle. Principle number 4. You must understand that communication is command. The way you talk does not just influence your own mind. It dictates how the world responds to you. This is a law of human interaction. The world is constantly listening to your words, analyzing your tone, and observing your body language. It is trying to determine, what kind of person are you? What level of certainty do you carry? Should I follow this person, or should I ignore them? In life, you do not get what you want. That is a pleasant dream. You get what you communicate. If you speak with confidence, if your words carry the weight of certainty, people will naturally listen. Doors of opportunity will open for you, and success will begin to follow you. But if you speak with doubt, if you use hesitant language, if your words are weak, the world will instinctively overlook you. It will move past you. It will seek out the stronger, clearer voice. Winners understand that communication is not just about talking. It is about commanding attention. It is about influencing. It is about making people believe in your vision and trust your judgment without you having to beg for it. To do that, you must speak like someone who deserves to be heard. Think about a builder on a construction site. When he issues an instruction, does he say, "I hope you guys might think about moving those beams"? No. He says, "Move the beams to zone 3, immediately." No discussion. His language is precise, immediate, and carries the weight of authority. It is a command. Your language in business, in leadership, and in your personal life must carry that same weight. Your voice must carry certainty. Your words must be sharp, intentional, and direct. Every statement you make must reinforce the fact that you know what you are talking about. Most people never realize this. They think communication is just about being nice or getting along. They think volume equals confidence. But winners know better. They understand that communication is about value exchange, and weak language signals low value. This is why winners eliminate weak language from their external communication. They do not say, "I think we should try this." They say, "This is what we are going to do." They do not say, "Maybe I can do it." They say, "I will find a way." They do not apologize for having an opinion. They do not delete their statements with unnecessary words like "just" or "sort of" or "I am not sure," but every sentence must reinforce the idea that they are leading the conversation, not tentatively entering it. This shift changes everything in your interactions. When you speak like a winner, people take you seriously. Your colleagues respect you. Your clients trust your judgment immediately. And when they trust your judgment, They follow your direction, which accelerates your results. Furthermore, this powerful language is contagious. Winners do not just speak in a way that builds themselves up. They speak in a way that elevates everyone around them. They speak life into others. They uplift their team, their friends, and their family. They bring a positive, solution-oriented energy into every room they enter. This is the ultimate leadership by voice. Your energy, your confidence, your belief in yourself, it all transfers to the people you interact with. Weak energy repels opportunity. Strong energy attracts it. You become a person who inspires action simply by the clarity and conviction of your speech. Winners are intentional about how they show up in every conversation. They do not speak just to fill space. They speak to add value. They listen carefully. They choose their words with precision. They make sure that every conversation they have leaves an impact. They do not waste time on gossip, on complaining, or on meaningless talk. They speak with purpose. And here is where most people get it profoundly wrong. They confuse confidence with verbosity, with talking too much. Winners know that true confidence is often about speaking less but making every word count. It is about knowing that you do not need to prove yourself with excessive words. It is about letting your presence, your clarity, and your certainty speak louder than any empty speech ever could. This leads us to the critical discipline of the pause, which we will explore next. You must understand that if you have already done the work in your mind, principles 1 and 2, and you have refined your language, principle 3, your next challenge is to deliver that language with maximum impact. You must master the silent weapon of the winner. We have established that communication is command. We know that the external power of a winner is rooted in the certainty of their internal voice. But that certainty can be completely undermined, utterly destroyed, by a tiny, insidious habit that most people practice every single day. This brings us to the 5th essential principle of the winner's architecture. Principle number 5. You must eliminate the language of hesitation. Winners are ruthless about eliminating weak language from their vocabulary. They understand that hesitation, doubt, and uncertainty are not just feelings. They are viruses that infect your communication and erode the very foundation of your internal power. Think about a small leak in a massive ship. The leak is tiny, almost invisible, but if it is allowed to persist, it will eventually fill the entire vessel and sink it. Weak language phrases like I think, I hope, maybe, and I'm not sure, these are the small leaks in the ship of your confidence. Every time you say I think, you are deleting your certainty. You are inviting doubt into your own statement. You are telling the world, this idea has not been fully verified, and I lack the conviction to stand behind it. Why should anyone follow you? Why should anyone invest in you if you are not even fully invested in your own idea? Winners eliminate this hedging. They do not say, I think we should launch this product. They say, we are launching this product. The statement carries finality. It carries commitment. It carries the weight of a decision that has already been made in the quiet of the morning. Principle 1. Every time you say, I hope, you are outsourcing your control. You are handing the result over to chance, to luck, to some external benevolent force. You are saying, I have done the work, but I am now powerless to affect the outcome. This violates the fundamental principle of responsibility. Instead of saying, I hope this turns out well, the winner says, I will make this work. They do not rely on hope. They rely on their own will, their own discipline, and their own capacity to adjust the plan. They replace the language of chance with the language of commitment. And every time you use qualifiers, words like just, or sort of, or I am, only you are actively shrinking your presence. You are apologizing for your own existence. You are preemptively making yourself smaller so that if you fail, the fall won't hurt as much. The winner does not apologize for having an opinion. They do not dilute their statements with unnecessary hedging. This shift changes everything in your interactions. When you speak like a winner, people take you seriously. They respect you. They trust your judgment immediately. Your colleagues follow you. Your clients buy from you. This discipline is the crucial link to your internal world. When you eliminate weak language, you are not just cleaning up your external speech. You are cleaning up your internal dialogue. The mind listens to the words it produces. By refusing to say, I can't, you are forcing your mind to find the how can I. Principle 2. By eliminating, "I'm not sure," you are forcing your mind to engage with clarity. The amateur overthinks and hesitates. They spend all their time and energy debating the what-ifs and the should-Is. And every time they hesitate in speech, they reinforce the idea that they are not ready. They are eroding their own potential with indecision. The winner, by contrast, eliminates hesitation. They understand that the faster they speak the decision, the faster they can execute the action. They trust themselves, not because they are immune to error, but because they have the confidence to make a decision, move quickly, and correct the course later. Indecision is expensive. A wrong decision quickly corrected is often cheaper and more valuable. This is a non-negotiable standard for anyone who seeks to lead. You cannot lead if your voice lacks certainty. You cannot inspire confidence in a team if your language is riddled with doubt. So, your homework for this principle is surgical. Identify the specific words that weaken your statements. Write down your "I think" statements and immediately translate them into "I will" statements. Commit to speaking your goals, your decisions, and your intentions with the clear, direct authority of a professional builder. The more decisive you are in your words, the faster you move in your actions. The more you eliminate hesitation from your language, the more power you accumulate. This is the simple price of clarity, and it is a price that separates the best from everyone else. Once you have mastered the removal of weak language, your next challenge is to weaponize the space you have just created. You must learn to use the most underutilized tool in powerful communication: silence. If this revelation that your mind is the cause, not the effect, of your reality resonates deep within you, it means you are ready for the profound shift from seeking to simply being. You are ready to stop chasing and start attracting. We have only just begun to unlock the true power of the winner's consciousness. If you are committed to mastering the final, irreversible laws of mindset and language, do not break the rhythm now. Subscribe to this channel. By subscribing, you are not just clicking a button. You are signing your unwavering commitment to a life governed by these victorious principles. Hit the notification bell so you never miss the advanced strategies of champions. The next principles we are about to reveal are the laws of action and consistency that turn your mental architecture into unshakable physical reality. Stay with us. We have successfully refined our speech. We have performed surgery on our language, removing the weak, tentative, and hesitant phrases that invite doubt. We are now speaking the language of commitment and clarity, but simply speaking clearly is only half the secret to commanding attention. The final mastery of communication involves utilizing the one tool that is most often ignored, yet carries the most weight. This brings us to the sixth, powerful principle. Principle number 6. You must master the power of silence. This is not just about being quiet. It is about understanding that silence, or the well-timed pause, is a deliberate act of power. It is a silent weapon. Most people talk too much. They are uncomfortable with pauses. They rush, frantic, to fill every empty space in a conversation. They speak before they think, and in their haste to fill the air, they weaken their own presence. They mistake verbosity for importance. They believe that volume and speed equal intelligence or confidence. But this is the amateur's mistake. The winner, the master, knows that silence is power. They understand that a pause is not a gap in communication. It is a tool for amplification. Think about a musician. A beautiful piece of music is not just a flurry of notes. The beauty, the tension, and the drama are often created by the silent spaces between the notes. Those moments of rest allow the listener to absorb what has just been played and anticipate what is coming next. They give the music meaning. Your speech is the same. When you speak quickly, without pause, your words crash into each other. The listener cannot process the information, and your message loses its impact. When you deliberately pause, you are forcing the listener to absorb the message. You are giving your words gravity. Winners know that a well-timed pause carries more weight than 100 unnecessary words. They take their time. They let their words land. They are not ruled by the pressure to perform. They are ruled by the need to communicate their vision with maximum impact. This mastery of silence is a profound indicator of inner control. Principle 8. When you are comfortable with silence, it signals to the world that you are calm, you are centered. You are not desperate for approval. You are not afraid of what others might think. You are in control of your own internal clock, and you are not letting the external chaos dictate your pace. Conversely, the person who rushes, who talks too much, who fills every gap, they signal desperation. They signal internal instability. They signal a fear of being judged and a fear of their own thoughts. They lose respect because they lose control of the rhythm of the conversation. We must apply this principle surgically to our communication. First, use silence as a weapon of emphasis. When you make a key point, a core directive, a statement of value, a major decision, pause. Let the statement hang in the air. Let the listener absorb the full weight of the words. If you have just stated, "This is what we are going to do," the silence that follows is the command. It gives the listener the space to process and comply, not to immediately argue or interrupt. Second, use silence as a tool for listening. Most people do not listen to understand, they listen to reply. They rush through the other person's speech, formulating their rebuttal. The winner is present. They use the pause to truly absorb information. This makes them a master learner, Principle 7, and it makes the other person feel valued and respected. This is a crucial element of character, Principle 10. Third, use silence as a refining mechanism. The master does not speak before they think. They take the beat to organize the powerful, precise thoughts they cultivated in their mind, Principle 1. This ensures that every word they deliver is deliberate, strategic, and clear. They do not fill the air with or like. They fill the air with nothing, which creates anticipation and clarity. This is where the winner truly develops a commanding presence. When a winner walks into a room, people notice, not because they are loud, but because they carry themselves with certainty. Their posture, their eye contact, and their controlled pace, it all reinforces the fact that they are in control. And when they finally speak, their words land. You must stop treating communication like a race to the finish line of who can talk the most. You must treat communication like a skill, one that must be sharpened every day. You must practice how you deliver your ideas until your words carry the weight of certainty. You must speak with projection. You must articulate clearly. You must make every single word count. If you master the power of silence, you will achieve what most people never do. You will gain influence by speaking less. You will gain respect by not rushing. You will gain control by letting go of the need to fill every single space. This is the ultimate expression of confidence. It is the quiet knowledge that you do not need to prove yourself with excessive words. You let your presence, your clarity, and the simple weight of your statement speak louder than any empty speech ever could. The elimination of weak language has prepared your words. The mastery of silence has prepared your delivery. Now you are ready to take this perfectly prepared language and use it to transform the narrative of your own life. You are ready to apply it to the challenges that define your trajectory. We have mastered the discipline of guarding our mind, and we have perfected the delivery of our message through the power of silence. We are speaking with certainty and commanding attention. But even with all this mastery, life will test you. You will fail. You will face setbacks. You will encounter resistance that seems overwhelming. And in that moment of crisis, when you are tired, frustrated, and exposed, your mind will whisper a powerful lie. The lie is this: you are not meant for this. This brings us to the seventh and most critical principle for sustaining greatness. Principle number 7. You must use language to instantly reframe failure. Self-sabotage is the biggest killer of dreams. Most people are their own worst enemy. They do not fail because of external circumstances. They fail because they talk themselves out of opportunities before they even try. They are convinced they are not ready, not capable, not good enough. And every time they allow that negative language to leave their mouth, they make that lie more real. The winner, the master, understands that failure is inevitable, but quitting is a choice. And that choice to quit is often made in a moment of emotional crisis, fueled by weak language. Winners eliminate self-doubt from their vocabulary by actively, almost surgically, reframing every setback in a way that serves their mission. They do not allow failure to be a final verdict. They demand that it become a lesson. Think about the amateur's language versus the winner's language in a moment of crisis. When faced with a difficult challenge, the amateur says, "I don't know if I can do this." This is a statement of doubt. It invites retreat. The winner says, I will figure this out. This is a statement of resolve. It forces the mind, principle 2, back into the solution-seeking mode. When things go wrong, the market crashes, the client leaves, the amateur says, "This always happens to me. I'm so unlucky." This is the language of victimhood. It is a refusal to accept responsibility. The winner says, "This is a lesson that will make me stronger. Thank you for the data." They turn a costly mistake into a tuition payment for their education. They transmute the negative experience into positive, usable intelligence. When they experience a profound failure, the amateur says, "I guess I am not meant for this. I should go back to safety." This is the language of surrender. The winner says, "This is part of the process, and I am getting better every time." The next attempt will incorporate this valuable information. They refuse to let failure define their potential. They demand that it enhance their journey. This shift in language is the single greatest engine for creating unstoppable confidence. You are always reinforcing something every time you speak. If you allow negative, fear-based language to take over, you are programming your mind to believe that failure is inevitable. You are eroding the foundation of your confidence. But if you train yourself to speak like a winner, if you consistently tell yourself that every loss is a lesson, you start to believe in your own resilience at a level most people never reach. This affects everything. It affects your ability to lead others. You cannot inspire a team to persevere if your own language suggests despair. It affects your capacity to stay motivated when things get tough. This reframing is not about pretending the pain doesn't exist. It is about choosing the meaning of the pain. The pain is real, but the meaning you assign to it is your ultimate act of free will. The amateur believes that the event dictates the meaning. The failure happened, therefore I am a failure. The winner knows that they dictate the meaning. The failure happened, therefore I am stronger, smarter, and closer to the solution. You must become a master of the reframe. If you lose a client, the reframe is, I did not lose a client. I gained clarity on my value proposition and now know exactly what the next client requires. If you lose money, the reframe is, I did not lose money. I paid for an accelerated business education that others don't have. This is verbal discipline at its highest level. It requires self-awareness. Principle 1, to catch the negative thought, the instant it arises, and the resolve to immediately crush it with a powerfully constructive reframe. If you let fear creep in, you will be paralyzed. If you let doubt creep in, you will stop moving. But by speaking courage into yourself, by constantly reinforcing your belief in your own ability, your mind stays focused on execution. You must remember, you are always programming something. Program success, program resilience, program the understanding that the only difference between success and failure is the angle of your response. Once you have mastered this unbreakable language of self-construction, you are ready for the ultimate defense. You are ready to ensure that no external pressure, no matter how great, can ever cause your core philosophy to break. You are ready to build the mind of steel. We have successfully armed ourselves with the language of self-construction. We have mastered the art of reframing failure, turning every loss into a lesson, every setback into data. But all this internal strength must now be tested against the ultimate enemy of achievement, external chaos. This brings us to the 8th foundational principle. Principle number 8. You must forge an unbreakable mindset. The world is not a calm, predictable place. You will face market crashes, betrayals, sudden health challenges, and economic downturns. These are the unavoidable winters of life. Most people can maintain a positive mindset when things are going well. They can talk confidently when they are winning. But the moment they hit a real obstacle, they revert immediately back to doubt and fear. Their winning philosophy collapses under the first real weight. True winners operate under a different set of rules. They do not let their external circumstances dictate how they think and speak. They understand that their internal state must be more consistent and more predictable than the external world. This is the very essence of the unbreakable mindset. It means maintaining the same level of certainty whether things are going incredibly well or actively falling apart. Think about a skilled ship captain. When the sea is calm, any amateur can stand at the wheel and look competent. But when the 100-foot waves are crashing over the bow, when the hull is creaking, and when the crew is panicking, that is when the true captain is revealed. Does he start shouting, "We are doomed"? This always happens to me. I hope we make it. No. His language becomes calmer, clearer, and more direct. His thoughts become intensely focused on the immediate, solvable problem. He maintains his certainty because he knows that if he loses his voice of command, he loses the ship. You are that captain, and your mind is the ship. Winners practice this mindset by establishing an ironclad rule. Never let external circumstances weaken your internal language. Most people can think confidently when life is easy. They talk like a winner when they are succeeding. But the moment they hit failure, they revert to the amateur's language of doubt, fear, and self-pity. They let failure break their confidence. They let setbacks weaken their language. They maintain the same level of certainty whether things are going well or falling apart. This is the great, powerful discipline. You must talk like a winner even when you are losing. You must speak in strength even when everything is falling apart around you. Why? Because you know that if you let fear creep into your words, it will instantly seize control of your mind. Principle 1. If it takes over your mind, it will take over your results. The mind is listening. It is waiting for your command. And in a moment of crisis, the command must be resilience. This discipline requires relentless self-auditing. You must catch yourself the moment you start making excuses, the moment you start hesitating, the moment you start saying anything that does not actively support your mission. This is the difference between those who win once and those who keep winning. You must practice thinking with a long view. The unbreakable mindset understands that any single failure, even a significant one, is just one moment in an infinite game. The amateur panics because they view the failure as permanent. The winner maintains their calm because they view the failure as temporary data. Principle 7. They know that the ultimate measure of success is not how many times they fall down, but how consistently they get back up. This is why winners condition their minds so deeply that when challenges come, their first instinct is not fear. It is strategy. It is execution. It is movement. They do not just use this mindset for themselves. They use it to elevate everyone around them. Principle 9. They become the emotional anchor for their team, their family, and their community. They walk into a crisis, and their calm, certain voice instantly begins to lift the standards of the room. If you are not being intentional with your thinking and speaking, you are leaving success to chance. Winners never leave anything to chance. They train themselves every single day to think at a higher level. They speak in a way that creates success before it even happens. Your challenge is to take full control of your thoughts and your words, especially in the fire. Eliminate hesitation, fear, and doubt, because those weak emotions have no place in the mind of a winner. You must become the person who is wired to win from the inside out. Once you have forged this unbreakable mindset, you become a formidable force. You move with certainty, you speak with power, and you are ready to apply this power to the ultimate discipline of leadership. We have forged the unbreakable mindset. We have trained ourselves to maintain certainty, even when the world is chaotic. We have committed to speaking like a winner even when we are losing, knowing that our internal language is the anchor for our results. Now, we must apply this tremendous internal power to the external world. You see, the power of thinking and talking like a winner is not just about personal success. It is about creating a legacy of influence, leadership, and positive impact on everyone around you. This brings us to the 9th essential principle. Principle number 9. You must master leadership by voice. The way you think and speak does not just affect you. It affects everyone you interact with. Your energy, your confidence, your belief in yourself, it all transfers. It is contagious. Winners understand this. They do not just lift themselves up. They consciously and intentionally lift up everyone in their environment. They speak life into others. They uplift their team, their colleagues, their friends, and their family. They bring a positive, solution-oriented energy into every room they enter. They make people believe in what is possible, often because their own belief is so strong that it becomes magnetic. This is why communication is the ultimate leadership skill. The way you speak determines how people see you. It determines whether they trust you, whether they follow you, and whether they want to be around you. Weak language repels opportunity and confidence. Strong, certain language attracts them. Most people underestimate the power of their presence. They believe success is about the tasks they complete in solitude. But in reality, true leadership and lasting success are often about who they are in interaction. It is about the energy they bring into a room. It is about the way they carry themselves, the way they communicate, the way they make people feel. Winners understand that before they even speak a word, their presence is already making an impact. Their posture, their eye contact, their very tone, it all communicates confidence, certainty, and power. And when they do speak, they reinforce that energy with words that inspire, motivate, and command respect. This is why winners develop verbal precision. They do not waste words. They do not talk just to talk. They speak with purpose. They know that their words have weight, and they use them wisely. They know when to speak, and, just as importantly, they know when to stay silent. Principle 6. They do not argue over pointless things. They do not engage in negativity or gossip. They do not defend themselves unnecessarily. They let their results and their prepared philosophy speak for them. And when they do speak, people listen, because their words always add value. This mastery of language allows winners to become masters of influence. The way they think and talk allows them to persuade, inspire, and lead, not through coercion, but through conviction. They do not force people to follow them, they make people want to follow them. Their belief in themselves is so strong that it makes others believe in the shared vision too. This is the power that allows them to negotiate better deals, close sales faster, build stronger relationships, and create more opportunities than those who have not mastered this skill. Most people do not realize how much influence they actually have. They think they need an official title, a formal position, or external validation to be a leader. But winners know that leadership starts with how they think and how they speak. They do not wait for permission to lead. They do not wait for someone to tell them they are capable. They decide it for themselves. And because they carry themselves and communicate like leaders, people treat them like leaders, long before they ever have an official title. This is the ultimate application of your internal discipline. You are not just building a stronger self, you are building a stronger environment, a concept we explored in previous lectures. When you walk into a room, you change the air. You replace doubt with certainty. You replace confusion with clarity. You replace fear with action. This is your responsibility as a leader and a winner. Your voice is a tool of creation. You must take responsibility for your voice. You do not use it carelessly. You do not waste it on things that do not matter. You use it to create impact, to make a positive difference, and to push both yourself and others forward toward the highest possibility. You understand that every word is either building something up or tearing something down, and you choose to build. This discipline in communication, this mastery of your presence, prepares you for the final, highest level of winning. It prepares you to ensure that the impact you create today will outlast your own lifetime. It sets the stage for the final, ultimate synchronization of self. We have forged our mindset. We have refined our language. We have mastered the art of leading by voice, becoming an anchor of certainty for ourselves and for others. We have built a formidable internal machine for success. But now, we face the final, ultimate challenge. All this power, all this discipline must be brought into perfect harmony, because the most effective way to sabotage all your hard work is to let your internal components, your thoughts, your words, and your actions operate in contradiction. This brings us to the 10th and concluding principle of the winner's architecture. Principle number 10. You must achieve total alignment. Total alignment means making sure that what you think, what you say, and what you do are all working toward the exact same goal. They must move in sync. They must be one unified force. Most people live in a state of painful, daily contradiction. They think about massive success, but they talk about guaranteed failure. They set ambitious goals, but their words are full of limitations and excuses. They dream about winning, but their daily actions are full of hesitation and retreat. Because of this constant internal friction, their actions never align with their ambitions. They are driving their car with one foot on the gas, their goals, and one foot on the brake, their self-doubt. And the energy they generate is wasted in a grinding, frustrating internal war. Winners, the truly elite, eliminate this contradiction. They live in sync. Their mindset is strong. Their words reinforce that mindset, and their actions follow through with power and certainty. This is why self-awareness is the core engine of alignment. Winners do not just operate on autopilot. They audit themselves constantly. They are fiercely committed to noticing their own patterns of weakness. They listen to how they talk. They notice when negative language, that insidious virus, creeps in. They correct it immediately. They do not let weak thoughts stay in their mind, and they do not let weak words leave their mouth. They catch themselves the moment they start making excuses, the moment they start hesitating, the moment they start saying anything that does not actively support their mission. This is the non-negotiable discipline required for high-level success. It is the understanding that every single action, every word spoken, is either pushing you forward or pulling you back. There is no neutral action. There is no neutral word. Think about a fighter jet. A fighter jet is designed for speed and precision. If the pilot says, full throttle, but the navigation system says, turn left now, and the wings are still set for landing, the jet will tear itself apart. It will fail catastrophically because its components are not aligned. You are a high-performance system. You must ensure that your three key components are perfectly aligned. 1. Mind, intention. This is the throttle. It must be set to certainty and solution. Principle 2. Voice, communication. This is the navigation system. It must communicate command and commitment. Principle 5. 3. Action, behavior. This is the wing settings. It must follow the directions set by the voice. When the mind says, we must finish this proposal, but the mouth says, I'm probably too tired, the mind loses the fight. The system becomes misaligned. Winners are deliberate. They practice verbal discipline to enforce mental discipline. They do not engage in weak conversations or waste time complaining. If they catch themselves saying something that does not serve them, they stop immediately and actively reframe it. Principle 7. If they feel fear, they speak courage into themselves. If they feel doubt, they reinforce their belief in their own ability. This is how transformation happens, not by hoping, not by waiting, not by wishing things were different, but by deciding that from this moment forward, you will think, speak, and act like the person you were meant to be. You eliminate hesitation, fear, and doubt, because those weak emotions have no place in the perfectly aligned mind of a winner. You become unstoppable. Opportunities will find you faster. Success will feel natural, because you will not just be hoping to win, you will be wired to win from the inside out. Your final challenge is to maintain this alignment. True winners understand that this is not a one-time project. This is a lifelong system. Every morning, you must perform the synchronization check. Are your thoughts feeding your fears? Are your words empowering your limitations? If you are serious about reaching your highest potential, you must make a final, permanent decision. I will take full control of my thoughts. I will take full control of my words. I will train myself to operate at the level of a winner. No exceptions, no excuses. This is how transformation happens. You will move with confidence. You will speak with power. You will command respect. You will achieve more in the next year than most people achieve in a decade. Winners are not born, they are made. And they are made through the simple, powerful, and necessary discipline of achieving total alignment between what they think, what they say, and what they do. The blueprint is now complete. The architecture of the winner's mind is fully revealed. Now, it is time for you to build the life that reflects this inner mastery. We have journeyed through the architecture of achievement, charting the 10 immutable principles that separate the transient striver from the triumphant master. This is not merely an intellectual summary. This is the final, profound confrontation between the person you were and the winner you have decreed yourself to be. The script ends now, but your destiny is just beginning to unfold. The power resides not in the knowledge you have acquired, but in the unwavering obedience to the laws we have revealed. Mindset is not a suggestion. It is the ultimate determinant. Language is not communication. It is creation. And destiny, dear listener, is not a lottery. It is the inevitable outcome of your inner dialogue. For too long, the pursuit of success has been framed as a battlefield of external struggle. We have been taught to chase opportunities, to manipulate circumstances, to compete in the visible realm. But the true winner understands that the ultimate competition is conducted within the sanctuary of the mind. The 10 principles are the 10 cardinal rules of this inner game, and they are now yours. Let us, for this final, defining segment, drill down into the essence of these principles, forging them into the unbreakable shield of your new identity. We will now synthesize the language of command, the discipline of consciousness, and the rhythm of unwavering action, recognizing that these three pillars are not separate entities, but facets of the same diamond, the winner's mind. The first pillar is the absolute mastery over your spoken and unspoken word. We establish that principle one is the law of definitive intent, the absolute clarity of your chief aim. But clarity is sterile without expression. It is your principle two, the edict of identity, the language you use to describe yourself, that activates this clarity. When you say, I will be successful, you are pronouncing the success into the future, eternally delaying it. When you declare, I am the successful steward of this endeavor, you anchor success into the eternal present. Your language is the soil. Your thoughts are the seeds. If the soil is polluted with the toxins of doubt, caveat, and hesitation, words like maybe, try, hope, if only, then the magnificent seed of your intention will wither before it breaks the surface. This is not superficial positive thinking. This is the metaphysical declaration of being. Every word you utter, internally or externally, is a direct instruction to the infinite intelligence that governs your subconscious mind and, in turn, governs the circumstances of your outer world. The universe does not receive your desires. It receives your commands. If your command is contradictory, the universe cancels the order. When you speak a negative about your financial status, your health, or your relationships, you are not describing reality. You are creating the reality you wish to avoid. The winner does not react to circumstances with language. The winner dictates the circumstances through language. Every conversation, every affirmation, every whispered worry is either a building block or a corrosive agent on the edifice of your destiny. You must conduct a ruthless audit of your speech, eliminating every single phrase that contradicts the identity of the person you intend to be. Your vocabulary must become the vocabulary of victory, not of vulnerability. This intense, uncompromising focus on the quality of your verbal output is principle 3, the unbreakable covenant of self-talk. You must become the most devoted listener to your own voice, ensuring that the voice of the victor is the only one you permit to occupy the stage of your inner life. This linguistic discipline is the beginning of all genuine power. It is the acknowledgement that your words are not mere sounds. They are the vibrational currency with which you purchase your future reality. You are either blessing your path with intentional speech or cursing it with careless chatter. The winner chooses sovereignty through precision of language. If language is the tool of creation, the mind is the workshop. The second pillar is the radical acceptance of your absolute responsibility for the contents of your consciousness. This is where the battle is truly won or lost. Principle 4 is the law of mental diet. This principle mandates that you cannot afford the luxury of a single negative thought. A seed of doubt is more dangerous than an army of adversaries because it is deployed from within. The winner treats the mind like a sacred sanctuary, guarding the gates of consciousness against every fear, every worry, and every limiting belief. This discipline requires the immediate, non-negotiable rejection of any thought that does not serve your definitive aim. When a negative thought arises, and they will, for the mind is a garden requiring constant weeding, you must not argue with it. You must not negotiate with it. You must simply replace it with the corresponding positive statement of your desired outcome. This instant replacement is the signature mark of a disciplined mind. This is the mental martial art of the master. You are not defined by the thoughts that enter your mind, but by the thoughts you permit to remain. The moment a corrosive thought takes root, it begins to infect the entire system. The winner practices the immediate mental eviction notice, declaring, "This thought does not serve my destiny, and therefore it is irrelevant and dismissed." This leads directly to principle 5, the habit of assumption. The greatest secret is that you must not wait for the feeling of success. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled now. The feeling is not a reward. It is the cause. The winner lives from the assumption of the end, not towards it. You must feel the relief, the certainty, the quiet satisfaction of already possessing the outcome. This state of consciousness, this assumed reality, then automatically directs your subconscious mind to arrange the corresponding events in the physical world. Consider the simple, undeniable fact of gravity. You do not question it, you assume it. You must adopt the same level of absolute, unquestioning certainty regarding your success. The doubt of how it will happen is the greatest saboteur. The winner's mind simply operates from the fact that it has already happened. This leads to the crucial distinction in Principle 6, the mastery of focus. The untrained mind is like a leaky sieve, scattering energy across 1,000 anxieties and distractions. The winner's mind is a laser, focused with blinding intensity on the solution, never on the problem. The energy of your consciousness flows wherever your attention is directed. If you dedicate your mental bandwidth to worrying about debt, you are investing in debt. If you dedicate your mental bandwidth to the experience of overflowing abundance, you are investing in abundance. The winner makes a daily, hourly, moment-by-moment decision to redirect focus back to the primary intention. This is the simple yet profound power of selection. Where attention goes, energy flows, and destiny grows. You are the sole curator of your attention. You must choose to starve the distractions and feed the destination. Finally, within this pillar, we find Principle 7, the resilience of visualization. This is not about passive daydreaming. It is about active, sensory, emotional rehearsal of your success. The winner doesn't just see the trophy. They feel the weight of it. They hear the applause. They smell the environment. They feel the texture of the victory. You must make your inner world so vivid, so real, and so emotionally compelling that the external world becomes dull in comparison. This mental rehearsal bridges the gap between the possible and the actual. The mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. By repeatedly and consistently immersing yourself in the reality of your success, you program your entire being for its inevitable manifestation. This is the architecture of the winner's inner sanctuary. This consistent, sensory experience rewrites the deep-seated programs of the subconscious, making the external action feel not like a struggle, but like a simple, natural extension of what you already know to be true. Knowledge without action is paralysis. The final pillar is the externalization of your inner discipline, the creation of an unbreakable rhythm that demands success. The winner is defined not by intensity, but by consistency. Principle 8 is the law of unbroken consistency. This is the great separator. The talented fail because they are intermittent. The winner succeeds because they are relentless. The compound interest of daily, small, focused actions is the most powerful force in the universe. Do not seek motivation. Seek structure. The winner builds a routine that is immune to mood, sentiment, or external opinion. When you establish a sacred rhythm of action, waking at the designated hour, executing the most vital task first, reviewing your chief aim before the world intervenes, you are not merely working. You are demonstrating an unwavering obedience to the destiny you have proclaimed. This is why a simple act, repeated without fail, holds more power than a brilliant, one-time burst of genius. The law of consistency demands that you stop making exceptions for your emotional state. You are not a victim of your mood. Your mood is a temporary vibration, a fleeting cloud. Your destiny is the sun, and the law of consistency is the orbital path. You follow the law, regardless of the cloud cover. This detachment from emotion and attachment to the law is the ultimate sign of mental maturity and the single greatest predictor of your future success. Principle 9 is the non-negotiable accountability. The winner never uses blame, circumstance, or other people as an excuse for failure to execute. There is no negotiation with the principle. Your commitment is to the law, not to your fleeting emotional state. The winner is brutally honest about their compliance with the law of consistency. They measure their performance against their stated aim, identify the gap without self-condemnation, and immediately course correct. The winner understands that the world is a mirror, and every setback is a perfect, neutral reflection of an underlying assumption or a breach in the law of consistency. They stop chasing external approval and start serving the law. Accountability is not self-flagellation. It is self-correction. It is the quiet, powerful process of acknowledging the truth without drama and immediately returning to the rhythm of the winner. Finally, we arrive at Principle 10, the unconquerable will of persistence. Persistence is not merely the refusal to quit. It is the habit of returning to the mental and linguistic posture of the winner, even after a recognized failure. Failure is simply feedback. It is not final. The winner does not allow a setback to define their identity or disrupt their rhythm. They return to the language of command, they reestablish the discipline of consciousness, and they immediately resume the unbroken consistency of action. The winner knows that the moment they return to the discipline, the failure begins to die. The victory is guaranteed to the person who outlives their temporary defeat. Persistence is the spiritual glue that holds the entire structure together. It is the final declaration that your will is superior to any external resistance. The winner's identification, from doing to being. Now, we must elevate this discussion from the practical to the metaphysical. The endgame is not simply doing these 10 principles. It is becoming the person who embodies them effortlessly. The winner's mindset is not an accessory. It is the operating system. Consider the parable of the mountain climber. The amateur climber focuses only on the peak. They worry about the weather, the distance, the equipment, and the risk. They try to climb. The professional climber, however, is not focused on the peak. They are focused on the next step, on the integrity of their rhythm, and on the unbreakable link between their mind and their body. Their identity is the climber. The mountain is not an obstacle. It is the inevitable stage for their chosen identity to manifest. They have mastered the language of command. I am the one who climbs. The discipline of consciousness. My fear is replaced by my certainty. And the rhythm of unwavering action, the next step, and the next, and the next. The peak is not something they achieve. It is something that is unavoidably revealed when they maintain their rhythmic identity. This is your calling. You must stop trying to achieve success and start identifying as the winner. Stop trying to manifest wealth and start identifying as the steward of abundance. Stop trying to find love and start identifying as the embodiment of love. This shift in identity is the final, most profound act of creation. The philosophy of unbrokenness. The true power of the 10 principles lies in their unbrokenness. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. A mindset is only as powerful as its most neglected principle. If you maintain the language of command but neglect the consistency of action, your words are hollow. If you maintain the discipline of consciousness but use your will for petty, unaligned distractions, your focus is wasted. The winner operates from a place of total systemic integrity. Every principle supports every other principle, creating a self-reinforcing loop of inevitable progress. This integrity demands that you stop making exceptions for your emotional state. You are not a victim of your mood. Your mood is a temporary vibration, a fleeting cloud. Your destiny is the sun, and the law of consistency is the orbital path. You follow the law, regardless of the cloud cover. This detachment from emotion and attachment to the law is the ultimate sign of mental maturity and the single greatest predictor of your future success. We have come to the close of this foundational instruction. The journey of transforming mindset into destiny is not linear. It is cumulative. You are now armed with the blueprint of the champion. The structure is laid, the laws are stated, and the path is clear. There are no more excuses left. There are no more mysteries to solve. There is only the execution of the known law. Do not leave this moment and allow the weight of the old world to settle back upon your shoulders. Do not dilute the clarity of these principles with the chaos of the common mind. You have been given the keys to the kingdom. Your only remaining task is to turn them. Your fate is sealed the moment you make the unbroken daily decision to embody the language of command, to uphold the discipline of consciousness, and to serve the rhythm of unwavering action. The universe does not wait for you to feel ready. It waits for you to declare your readiness through action. Step forward now, not as a seeker, but as a sovereign. Your thoughts are your scepter. Your words are your decrees. Your consistency is your crown. Mindset is not a choice. It is a destiny you are currently building. Let the world see the difference. Let your results speak the language of command you have now mastered. Let your unwavering progress be the ultimate, undeniable evidence of the winner you have become. Go and make your destiny manifest. The time for theory is over. The time for the triumphant demonstration of your inner power is now. You now hold the master keys, the language of command, the discipline of consciousness, and the rhythm of unwavering action. The great Jim Rohn once said, "If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. This entire presentation is your blueprint to design that plan. The separation between you and your destiny is not effort. It is integrity to these 10 laws. Do not let this profound truth be a fleeting inspiration. If this message has ignited the undeniable shift in your consciousness, take the final, crucial step now. Subscribe to this channel to ensure your continuous exposure to the mindset of the master. Share this video with the one person you know who is tired of struggling and ready to win. And most importantly, solidify your commitment by commenting below with this single powerful declaration. I am the law. Thank you for the privilege of sharing this truth. Go and live your design.